Are you buying your first property? Do you feel like you don't really know what the process involves? Do you understand why you should get a survey? You're not alone if you don't feel at home with the UK house buying process, which can be confusing and fraught with difficulty. I'm Tim Clarke, Managing Director of Harris & Clarke Chartered Surveyors, and I'll be focusing on the survey element of the process. We'll be looking at what a building survey covers, the inspection process, how long it takes, what happens after the survey, and how you can use the results to negotiate. In brief, a building survey is an inspection by a highly trained construction professional of a property, followed by a written report, normally before a formal agreement to buy is entered into. There are two main types of report for houses, a level 2 or level 3 report, which approximately correspond with the old home buyer report or building survey. Sometimes we're asked for a level 1 report. While these exist, they really aren't worth doing for most purchasers, and so we don't offer them. Normally, the survey would be completed by a building surveyor who is a professional or associate member of RICS, but this isn't a regulated activity, so some non-regulated surveyors are offering these services, as do some structural engineers. RICS surveyors have to adhere to the Home Survey Standard, which creates some consistency across the board, but this, confusingly, doesn't guarantee that all surveys will be good surveys. As with any discipline, there will be good surveyors and ones that aren't so good. When the surveyor inspects a property, this will be a non-intrusive inspection, which means that they won't be dismantling the building, and as such, any parts of the building which are inaccessible to you will also be inaccessible to the surveyor. To clarify though, if access into the roof void and underfloor voids are available, the surveyor will inspect these areas. They won't, however, be taking up fitted carpets or taking up floorboards, unless some are loose and easily removable, for example. The surveyor will be very experienced in diagnosing building defects, and although the survey is non-intrusive, if defects are found, surveyors should have the expertise in building pathology to identify the cause of almost all defects without further investigation. There are some exceptions to this, such as when defects might arise within underground drainage, but the surveyor will be able to explain what signs there are that defects need to be addressed and what next steps are required. They'll also set out any risks that might arise if you don't deal with the issue. The surveyor will communicate their findings in a written report, which normally discusses the building elementally. For example, looking at the roof, walls, floors, services, etc., all separately. This makes the report easier to read, particularly as some reports can be overwhelming in scale. On some more complicated reports, the surveyor will write more than 10,000 words of bespoke text, though usually the word count is a lot lower. Most reports, especially those which use the RICS's own template, will grade building elements with a traffic light system. Those items which could be very problematic could be allocated a red colour, those with less problematic defects or issues amber, and building elements which are fine should be allocated a green status. This can help the reader to quickly understand where problems might lie. Some surveyors will be able to issue their reports on the same day as inspection. While this can feel convenient, it normally means that rather than receiving a fully bespoke report to suit the property you're buying and considering your areas of concern, the surveyor has simply selected a series of standard phrases on their iPad. In my opinion, this often leads to clunky, confusing reports that don't make it clear whether the issues stated are present in the subject property or could just theoretically arise on a property similar to the one being purchased. For this reason, these types of report can be alarming to read and be difficult to understand. If you use a more professional surveyor, it's likely that your report will take a few days to prepare. At Harris & Clarke, at least 3 people will be involved in preparing your report, although of course the surveyor completes the vast majority of what you see and is responsible for confirming the report is up to standard. It is, of course, the surveyor's individual reputation on the line. You'll probably find that if you look for a few quotations, there will be a large range of costs. Typically, the poor quality iPad surveys will be at the cheap end, as those surveyors can complete multiple surveys in a day. More expensive surveys allow your surveyor a proper amount of time to inspect, reflect, and really communicate with you in an intelligible format. It's likely that the more expensive surveys will give you access to the best surveyors available, along with the best post-survey backup should issues arise. Once you have received your report, you should read it fully. As much as we would like to know each and every client really well, we cannot fully appreciate everything that's important to you, but we will provide a very comprehensive report. We might report as minor issues something that's really important to you, things like a binding door or missing bits of woodwork. So just in case we aren't completely aligned, you really should read everything. Doing so will help you to really understand what it is you are buying. If you go for a full building survey, we will provide costs for recommended remedial work. While we can't guarantee that you will be able to complete all items of work for the exact sum stated, these are educated assessments from construction professionals who are able to draw from real-world cost data. In aggregate, these costs are likely to be fairly robust, even if one individual cost turns out to be a bit off. After reading your survey, it's likely that you have some questions. At Harris & Clarke, whenever you commission a survey, you have as much access to your surveyor post-survey as you need to be able to confidently make an informed purchase decision. This means that you can arrange phone calls, Teams meetings, or even come into the office to meet with your surveyor. Many clients don't take advantage of this, but we have continued to work with some clients for months after we've provided their report to ensure the best outcome for them. We really like working with our clients, and it really isn't a burden to answer your questions. You might want to use the findings in your survey to renegotiate the asking price, or to ask the seller to address some issues with the property before you buy. Our surveyors are always happy to help you with a negotiation strategy. We're often asked about this, and while we can cover a few eventualities, the reality is that every vendor is different. That said, the worst they can do is say no. We've never seen a sale fall through because the buyer relied on their survey to get a better deal. In short, if you appoint one of our surveyors to look at the property you are buying, we're there for you, whether it's putting together a market-leading survey, helping you to negotiate the vendor, or even just providing some reassurance that you really will get there eventually. We've got your back. One final thing. Whether you're a first-time buyer or a fourth-time mover, the buying process can still be really confusing and complicated. We've spent so long being involved with and learning about the process, we're pretty knowledgeable about things. So even if you're confused by something in the process to deal with the estate agent or your solicitor or mortgage broker, we'll probably be able to give you a bit of advice. If having watched this you're still confused and need some more guidance on surveys or another part of the moving process, or even better, if you need a survey on your first, second or 10th property, all of our details can be found at harrisandclarke.co.uk. Our friendly team is looking forward to speaking with you.